Yeah, I hope the lunch will give you strength to enter the mansion, the castle. Yeah. Okay. Should I use this or not? Is strong enough? My use this? Yeah, to wake you up. Okay. Okay. So we'll see the dynamics of Christian life according to the interior castle. Again, as Father Paulus said that the book is thick enough, it's going to be just a highlights that you may read yourself and to understand what is inside the interior castle. So what is the purpose of spiritual life? I think I mentioned it before. It's clear the purpose is God and to love God, precisely to love God. So the purpose is like what Jesus said in the love commandment. You shall love your Lord, the Lord your God, with all your hearts, all your soul, and with all your mind. So this is what Teresa wants to show us in every mention, in every development, going deeper. The greatest and the first commandment, but it's not separated. Be separated and never be separated. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. So while we are growing in loving God, we almost automatically, we are growing to love our neighbor. So if you are growing to love God in the blessed adoration, days and nights, and you hate your husband, then you are in trouble, but because that's wrong. That's wrong. That's a wrong development. Yeah. So this is the guidelines to understand that. Let us start from the courtyard of the castle. Teresa said, there are souls so ill, wow, and so accustomed to being involved in external matters that there is no remedy. Wow, very strong, eh? Nor does it seem that they can enter within themselves. They are now so used to dealing always with the insects and vermin that are in the walls surrounding the castle that they have become almost like them. Wow, that's a very strong statement of the ones who never enter their. We become more human and at the same time more divine. You might say, oh, this is like the Middle Age understanding of life. Teresa doesn't understand psychology. And I said from the beginning, she's a great psychologist. Have you read the book of Daniel Goleman, Emotional Intelligence? It's a beautiful book. It's how to develop our emotional intelligence. He said that if we don't develop our emotional intelligence, we are entertaining our reptile brain. So I reminded, like Saint Teresa said, if you are just defending yourself, not being more intelligent in expressing your emotions in the good manner, in the good words, then you will be like reptiles. Basically, that's what he said in his book, Emotional Intelligence. Read that. It's a beautiful book, very practical. So be careful with being reptiles. You know, we tend to say, I am okay, but the mystics look at the reality differently, penetrating what is on the surface, entering deep within. No, actually you are like reptiles. She is not cruel saying that, because she said that herself is a vermin. I am a vermin. Yeah, that's the title of my book. So she didn't say any much about what happened outside, but she said it's terrible. It's terrible if you don't enter. So what is the gate of the castle? She said, I see is the interior castle. No, that's a quotation. I will from now on I will quote her more and more. The gate of the castle, she said, the door of entry to this castle is prayer and reflection. So how important is a prayer? Prayer is not just a prayer from the book, because prayer with reflection. If you pray from the book, you just open and then Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, blah, 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 and finish. No, that's not the prayer that she mentioned. It's a prayer of reflection, reflecting about yourself. It's a prayer that penetrates deep within. So that's the door of the entry of the castle. Without prayer and reflection, don't hope that you will have a good spiritual life. Father, I'm Christian, but I don't pray. Oh, that's a contradiction in terms. So what is a prayer? Teresa, as a teacher of prayer, La Maestra, she said very simple. Not complicated like the PhD professors, like me. It's very complicated. She's very, very straightforward. Prayer is an intimate sharing between friends. It means taking time frequently to be alone with Him, who we know loves us. Beautiful, huh? It's an intimate sharing. You don't need any formulas. You just talk to your friend. But you need time, frequent time, to be alone with Him. Not only to know Him, to be alone with Him, but to know that He loves us. Oh, that's a beautiful definition of a prayer. Huh? The loving one, and you can share anything. Again, I reminded you the structure of the castle of Las Moradas. It's so many mansions. Practically, Teresa said there are 7 mansions, and going deeper to meet God. So this is the mansions. These are the mansions. Teresa said, in epilogue number 3, although no more than 7 dwelling places were discussed, in each of these there are many others, below and above and to the sides, with lovely gardens and fountains and labyrinths. Labyrinths, yeah, difficult. Such delightful things want to be dissolved in praises of great God, who created the soul in His own image and likeness. So it's beautiful places, the dwelling places also for the Lord. So what are those mansions? What are those dwelling places? The first dwelling place is the dwelling place of self-knowledge. We will enter one by one. The second is about understanding passions. The third mansion is the mansion of self-renunciation. The fourth mansion is the inner tranquility. The fifth mansion is union. The fourth is betrothal. And the last mention is the marriage. So from the first to the third, we are required to work hard, self-discipline, discipline in prayer, in the time, fasting, etc., etc. But from our part, we have to work hard. So, and I said always to my students in the Carmelite, because they have to wake up 4:30 in the morning, they have to take a bath, and they have to be ready 5 minutes before 5 in the chapel. What's the purpose, Father? I'm tired. Said, well, you want to be a Carmelite, you have to wake up and to pray. What's the purpose of praying? Well, so many exercises. It's a normal question for the novice to do that. It's okay, but you have to work hard in the beginning. But later on, it's not about you. So mention number 4 is the transition between what God can do and what I can do. Yeah. It started with the inner tranquility, the prayer of silence that God gave us. But the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th is the steps of a marriage. It's a union, betrothal, and finally the marriage. It's not about us, it's about God. Okay, let's see one by one. Mentions 1, 2, and 3. God initiates with His mercy. Of course, God initiates. Without being initiated, we are not going to be, we are not attracted to the spiritual life. So don't boast yourself that, oh, I'm important in the church, I know these things, I have this level of spiritual life. Yes, remember in the beginning who you were. That's the most important thing. That's why later on she said, humility and humility. And when God initiates, we humans must strive. We have to work hard. No other choice. It's the same, if you play golf or you're learning different language. First you have to, especially Cantonese, I'm blind Cantonese. I have Cantonese blood, but I only know Sek Fan. That's the most important word. My mom was so naughty with my grandma, because if I understood a little bit of Mandarin, they switch into Cantonese. Oh, that's terrible. I hate that. Because they want, my God, what they are talking about. But if I have to study Cantonese, I had to strive. In the beginning, I have to strive. I think Father Geta is working so hard, and Father Trio is also working so hard how to write this and this and how to pronounce differently. But as time goes by, you become more fluent and more easy for you to do that. That's why we have to strive also in the spiritual life. The muscle must be built. So what should you do in the beginning of the spiritual life is self-knowledge. Teresa said, how important is this mansion? You cannot pass this mansion. You cannot skip it. Teresa said, it is indeed very good to try to enter first into the room where self-knowledge is dealt with, rather than fly off to other rooms. This is the right road. Let's strive to make more progress in self-knowledge, and in my opinion, we shall never completely know ourselves if we don't strive to know God. Wow, she's making circle, no? Self-knowledge is about my own knowledge with the help of psychology. I'm sorry, I'm a modern man. I know psychology. I know myself. Well, actually, you're not. If you see the structure of the iceberg, you know the structure of the iceberg. You know, movie Titanic. They saw it only the tip of the mountain, of the iceberg, but below the bigger part of the iceberg is hidden under the sea. We know only the tip by the help of the psychology about ourselves, but to dig deeper, we have to involve our Creator, who knows us much better than we are. That's why Teresa said, well, you have to know yourself. Even she said, it's stupid if you don't know yourself. Very typical Spaniards, it's stupid if you don't know yourself. But don't strive only to know yourself by yourself, but to know God. And in knowing God, you know yourself. Beautiful. I like this. I like talking to the psychologists about this. Yeah, because to make us humble. What knowledge that we should obtain in this stage? That God is God, the Creator, and I am the creation. It's simple, Father. I know that. No, we don't. Because you know Peter Kreeft, the professor of philosophy from the Boston College. He said that the summary of the spiritual life is, I am God and you are not. Yes, of course, because we pretend to be God to ourselves and to our relationship. We pretend to be God since the beginning. What is the first temptation to Eve? If you eat this fruit, you will be like him. She was blinded of her self-knowledge that she was not God. She's just creation. That's why she said, you need humility here. You need humility. But you know, if you understand what kind of creation you are, you will be amazed. She said like this about ourselves. It is that we consider our soul to be like a castle made entirely out of a diamond or of a very clear crystal, in which there are many rooms, just as in heaven there are many dwelling places. So, actually, we are just creation, but the creation that was so beautiful, like diamond. Why? Because God wants it. Because God's building his dwelling place within us. That's why it's beautiful. That's why it's shining. So we don't have to get plastic surgery to look more beautiful. You don't need to do that. It should be kept in mind that the shining sun that is in the center of our soul does not lose its beauty and splendor. It is always present in the soul, and nothing can take away its loveliness. But why sometimes we feel hopeless? Where in fact the loving Creator living in ourselves. This is what happened. You must know that hardly any of the light coming from the king's royal chamber reaches the first dwelling place. It's too far. Even though they are not dark and black, totally like outside, as when the soul is in sin outside the castle again, they are nevertheless in some way darkened so that the soul cannot see the light. So the sins is like the mud who darkens the soul and our sights to see us as beautiful, to see us as worthy. And automatically, if we don't see the beauty of ourselves, of our worthiness in the sight of God, we will not be able to see the beauty of the others. There is a story of a monk, the Buddhist monk. He has a disciple. He had a disciple who was so famous in Hong Kong. You know, this disciple, he gave a talk everywhere, very famous. Whether while his master living, say, in the monastery where the statue of Buddha is. You know? It's beautiful. He's living alone there in the silence. One day, this famous disciple came back to the monastery and sit in front of the master. The disciple asks, the master said, "Oh my God, my lovely disciple, you've been so famous. I heard about your names. You are so shiny like diamonds." And the disciple said, "Oh, yes, master, I am shiny like diamonds. Not like you. You just getting fatter and bald and old, like a pile of ox shit." So harsh. And the master laughing, "Ha ha, so laughter." And the students say, "Why is he insulting the," he could not help insulting the master and said, "You know, my child, I know you since the beginning. You know what? If inside somebody's there is a diamond, he will see diamonds everywhere. But if inside somebody's there's a buffalo shit, he will see shits everywhere." And it was like, oh my God. So that's a Zen story. Huh? It's a beautiful Zen story. Because if we cannot see that we have diamond inside, we will not see our friends, our husband, or our neighbor as diamonds. So what to do in this mansion? Do not look outside the castle. Once you in, and faithfully remain in the castle, and remain assiduous in prayer. I'm getting bored, so don't worry, move on. Deepen self-knowledge, develop humility, learn to get out from egocentrism, and learn to love others for who they are. It's still difficult, but if you're striving, you are developing. Of course, there are other details, yeah? But I just give you some highlights. The second mention, understanding passions. These rules, according to Teresa, demand a lot of effort from us. determination needed. You know, if you do diet, you know, I'm doing diet but always failed. And Father David is very strict. When I came here to Hong Kong, you must not eat, he said. Oh my God. You are too fat. Yes, I'm sorry. like he was. It's difficult if we do a fasting. You know, usually we don't like say fried chicken, but when we are fasting, the imagination of fried chicken is always there. It's, I don't know, it's weird. You know, you experience, no? Yeah, it's you know, it's there and then loading. So we have to understand this movement. Huh?
You can also smell the chicken.
Yes, of course. I don't know. That's what happened. This stage pertains to those who have already begun to practice prayer and have understood how important it is not to stay in the first dwelling places. You have to move on after you know yourself. But they still don't have the determination to the second stage without turning back. For they don't avoid the occasion of sin. How difficult it is to avoid sin. This failure to avoid those occasions is quite dangerous because it can slide you back to the first mention. You need determination. What about if I made sins? Don't worry. Go to confessions. But I get bored, Father, with my own sins. I can imagine how bored was the priest to me. I tell you a story. It's about sexuality. You know, I'm teaching sexuality, so don't pretend that you don't know. I know that you know. More expert than me. This is the sharing of a young man that shared to me. He got addicted to porn and masturbation. So he's a speaker now. So he went to the confession. He said, Father, I went to the confession to the same priest. Confession. And one day the priest fed up. Again, masturbation and porn? Again. And then, but eventually just he gave the blessings. And then finally he got healed from that attachment to these sins. And he said to me, you know what, Father, don't hide sins under the darkness. Go to the confessions and make it the light of God shines through. One by one, step by step, the sins will fall off. It's like radiation cancer, no? Same. So, but you have to have determination. Pope Francis said, sometimes we are so tired to ask forgiveness from God, while God never gets tired to forgive us. So just ask humbly. Well, not to scare you, but this is what Teresa said. In this stage, in the second mention, the devil starts to block you. She said, certainly the soul undergoes great trials here. Great trials. If the devil especially realizes that it has all it needs in its temperament and habits to advance far, he will gather all hell together to make the soul go back outside. Wow. Wow. So that's why I said don't walk alone. We have to work in the community. We have to work with, and because we are facing this kind of, if the devil will not stop to do that until I think the sixth mention, God works differently so that they don't understand. We don't understand. Only Him understand. So the soul in this situation, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just move forward. Because with God, they're powerless. But be careful. That's the most important. Be careful. But in this stage, usually the temptation is between good and bad. It's easy. But sometimes for people it's not easy also, no? Between go to the church and going to the mall. It's clear which one is good and which one is bad. But to distinguish between being the Eucharistic ministers or a normal people in the pew, it's kind of tricky. What is your intention there? So it's different. No, it's easier here, but also it's kind of dangerous because the devil will not let you go on. But don't worry about that. Don't worry. The thing that why Teresa mentioned is to be aware of the situation. So again, determination, or in the modern word, is a commitment. The whole aim of any person who is beginning prayer, and don't forget this because this is very, very important, should be that he work and prepare himself with determination and every possible effort to bring his will into conformity with God's will. Oh, Jesus sweat in blood in understanding his will. Mary had to take the risk of being stoned when she said yes to God's will to be pregnant without any husband. So how difficult it is. That's why you need determination not to be afraid since the beginning. So you have to have boldness. This is that's why one of the virtue is fortitude. The cardinal virtue is fortitude, braveness. Harry Potter said about braveness. You have to be brave because when you go deeper, you will see another challenge after challenge after challenge. Okay? So, what to do? Sharpening the sensitivity of the presence of evil. With the evil ones trying to entice you. That's why you need discernment of spirits. Well, there's another conference on discernment of spirits. To continue and practice prayer and spiritual life diligently. And make friends with those who have interest in spiritual life. Why? Because our old friends might be not compatible with us anymore. Because they are more compatible to the worldly affair, and you feel it's very strange among them. You know, my friend told me, when I was doing business as normal, it's just fine with these people. They're going to the discotheque, going to here and there, blah, 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 enjoying life. But after following Jesus more deeply, I feel alone. They said, no, you are not feeling alone. Find the community. You just find the community. You will find friends. Because you need to be always in the community to move forward. So make friends. Avoid shopping around for spiritual things. You know, not happy in the Catholic Church, you go to the Protestant Church. Not happy in the Protestant church, you go to the Baptist church. Not happy in the Baptist church, you go to the Buddhist temple. And to do so you will get confused. No, I always said to my students, you know what? You don't have to buy other stuffs from other shops. You know what you mean with shops is with different religion. We have the masters here in our order. So it's a pity if you're Christians die in the building full of food because we are too rich. It's a pity. Yeah? We have this richness. So avoid focusing on self-gain and be patient with yourself and others. So don't rush. Don't rush. And let yourself move with God, you know, because He knows the pace better than us. We think that we can go faster, but God knows better than us. If you go faster, you might slide faster also. So be patient. Okay, that's the second mention, the highlights of the second mention. The third mention is a normal thing in the spiritual life. You need discipline, you need hard work, you need self-renunciation. So many people reach the third mention. Teresa said that, but later on, I don't think so. So developing virtues. You can very well test and know whether or not you are the rulers of your own passions in striving to practice these virtues, in surrendering our will to God in everything, in bringing our life into accordance with what His Majesty ordains for it, and in desiring that His will, not ours, be done. Oh, so much to say here. No, let's do one by one, a little bit faster. So, what is virtue? Let me show this one too. So, virtue and passions, just like this. So, passion is not necessarily bad things. If you have the passion to eat, it's good because you have to live. No, oh, I have a strong. Well, it's good if you don't have, you cannot procreate. Oh, well, not for us. No. No, Father.
Why you ask me?
Because you are more experienced than me.
You know, senior is not always more knowledgeable.
So passion, according to St. Thomas Aquinas, is like a river. Strong river is not bad. The thing is how you control that, how you manage that. And the weapon of doing that is called virtues. To drive the passion. If you read Deus Caritas Es from Pope Benedict, he said that eros is not bad things, but eros needs to be disciplined with agape, with the highest form of love. But agape without eros, you will not be, there is not going to be so many poetry songs about love. So you need that kind of fire. So this is the virtue and passion. So don't see passions as naturally bad. It's strong, but you have to control that. So striving in these virtues by what? Surrendering our will to God's will in everything. That's the most important thing. And to bringing our life in accordance with His Majesty ordains for it. So our will, our knowledge should be submitted to God's knowledge and to God's will. Oh, you know how long to train that? It's kind of forever. Because in understanding in God's will in the situation that we don't like, it's tough. It's tough. Okay, but that's that's what Jesus taught in the Gethsemane and Mary in her house in Nazareth. That's why we need humility. With humility present, this stage is most excellent one. She said, if humility is lacking, we will remain here for our whole life. You will not get advanced, and with 1,000 afflictions and miseries. For since we will not have abandoned ourselves, this state will be very laborious and burdensome. Again, don't worry. Don't worry if you start your spiritual life, you facing trials and so many temptations that you never experienced before. Don't worry, because it's normal. It's not your life is going to be worse on that. No. And this is one of the fear of the people who starts the spiritual life. The spiritual aridity, dryness. You usually pray fervently, listening to the music, and it's nice. And I can pray going deeper. And the charismatic movement, they pray until crying with the songs. But then, if you ask going deeper, you have to pass. It's automatically you have to pass the desert. You have to pass the desert, and that's normal. It doesn't mean that you become worse, but it means that you are going to move forward in your spiritual life. Your prayer becomes dry, everything becomes boring, but don't worry. She said, we do for God so generous that He died for us, created us, and gives us being. Shouldn't we consider ourselves lucky to be able to repay something of what we owe Him for His service towards us? The fact is that He did nothing else but serve us all the time He lived in this world. And yet, we ask Him again for favors and gifts. Sometimes we never appreciate something simple. People came to me, Father, I lost everything in my life. Really? What did you lose? I lost my wallet. Okay. You have your children still? Yeah, they are in the school. Your husband? Yes, he's working. You can breathe? I can. So you lost everything? Yes, Father, there is ID, my credit card from this bank, this bank, this bank. I lost everything. Well, you can cancel your credit card, no problem. I think you lost several of your cash there. You're not losing your life. You're not losing everything. Sometimes we complain such matters, such trivial matters, without realizing that every single breath is very precious, and that's the grace from God. Well, only when COVID came, then we understand that breath is very important. That we take it freely every day, the oxygen, no? So what to do in this stage? Sharpen your humility. Know who you are. Where is your position in front of God and in front of the other? The journey is still far. Persevere on this path. Don't move back. Develop more faithfulness to God, and do not complain, God, of your spiritual aridity like the Israelites in the desert, complaining about not having this food, and God give manna and complaining, oh, it's only manna, we need meat, and complaining about, oh, the meat is not like in the Egypt, blah, 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 and God then sends snakes. You complain too much. But the snakes, God is very good snakes, just to save you more, just give you a little lesson. Don't be easily surprised by others' weaknesses and mistakes. Well, we make an advancement in our spiritual life, but we still see some others like, oh, you are lower than me. I'm better in the spiritual life. I go to the adoration every day. 2 hours. How many times you pray every day? So we and then we are surprised if somebody else says, make mistakes. Teresa said, no. Don't look at them, look yourself. Self-knowledge again. And humility. Well, if we graduated from the third mansion, there are still 4 mansions. The fourth mansion is the transition. Now, there are less endeavors for us as humans, and God begins taking over human endeavors. And one of the most important things is God gives us inner tranquility. God pours His grace upon us when He wills it. So this is the quotation from Teresa. When He wills it. When, we don't know. You ask the spiritual directors, they don't know. I don't know, you ask me. Only God knows. Well, the greatest temptation here is not you are too holy, say it like that, to be tempted to go to the discotheques, to use narcotics, to do the corruption. You are too holy and easily say, no. Okay, you know how to renounce that? The devil is very smart. Okay, then I will give you, along with God, spiritual delights, consolations. It could come from God, but devil can create that also. So be very careful. People just imagine himself that, oh, I saw Mother Mary speaking to me in the middle of the night and asked me to do this and that. So be careful with the spiritual delights. In the charismatic movement, I get involved, and I really warn them, if God gives you like the speaking in tongues, it's a gift, but not to be boasted. It's a gift, but not to be boasted. Oh, I speak in tongue, blah, 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 blah. You cannot. So you're less holy than me. That's the danger. So spiritual delights, it's good. It could be God's graces for us, or could be something that we can pass when we reach such spiritual heights. But the mystic says it is not that important for our development in spiritual life. What God gives in these states, according to the experience of Teresa, is the inner tranquility. Perhaps I will talk about this at length in the retreat, but not now. So the thing is, why it give you tranquility? Because, as I said in the beginning, and Teresa also experienced, once you pray, sit, and Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, you close your eyes, you focus on Christ, and your mind flies to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yeah, experience that. It's the monkey brain that always jumping from this planet to another, blah, 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 blah. So, in the first, second, third mention, we try to tranquil this, to calm this down, and to give them food. Okay, there are some trains. The Buddhists might give us idea how to train that, but the one who really calms them down is the creator of our mind, God Himself. So this inner tranquility is the prayer of silence that God gives to the people in this stage. Teresa's experience is like the whistle from the shepherd, so calm that you are recollected inside. What is the reason? What is the purpose? The purpose is just to make you more attractive to spiritual life and move forward. So be careful with every gift, because we misunderstood or misunderstand gifts as the reward of my own holiness. Hello? It's not your own holiness that rewards them. No. It's a pure gift. Again, humility. Yeah, you will see this. Humility. The first sign of seeing whether or not you have humility, no, is you do not think you deserve these favors, spiritual delights from the Lord, or that you will receive them in your lifetime. Father, that people can speak in tongue. Father, that people can heal. I cannot. Why? I'm jealous. Oh, that's why you're jealous. You never see Mother Mary speaking in tongue. Never see heal somebody's in her life. So beware. I advise. This I also mentioned to my priest colleague, to this one. I advise them so strong not to place themselves in the occasion of sin, because the devil here still tries much harder for a soul of this kind who has reached this mansion, than for very many to whom the Lord does not grant these favors. For such a soul can do a great deal of harm to the devil by getting others to follow it. So if you become a good preacher, good talker, you can heal, you can speak in tongue, you can do you are granted with the charismatic gifts. If you do it well, you can harm the devil because people will follow you. But at the same time, be careful, because people following you, because the devil is just to put you higher and higher and give you pride, and you fall down. It could be great benefit for the church. And even though the devil may have no other reason than to see who it is to whom His Majesty shows particular love, that's sufficient for him to wear himself out trying to lead the soul to perdition. So be careful. So, what to do? Further sharpening humility again. And always say, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. I'm sin, I'm truly sinner, and developing faithfulness to God and increasing loving others for who they are. mentions 5, 6, and 7. In his merciful love, God takes over, and people let God work, and we let God. So it started with the union. Teresa says this place, this mansion is so beautiful, and this is where the transfiguration happened. You know, people enter rare supernatural experience. Not many have this experience. And Teresa wanted to write this. She asked God to lead her because it's very, very, very difficult. Send light from heaven, my Lord, that I might be able to enlighten these, so that they may not be deceived by devil transforming himself into an angel of light. So in this mansion, even though it's more difficult by devil to move us astray, his last effort to make us astray by transforming into an angel of light. It's not that difficult for them, because they are angel actually. So the door of this mansion is the prayer of union, the gift of contemplation. Well, it takes time, hours to explain this. That's why I said I give you just the highlights. The cessation of all senses. He grants his mercy, for he desired her to know him more, that they might meet together, as they say, to be unified. What are the metaphor? The metaphor is like the metamorphosis. You will slowly die when you are entering the cocoon, to be born from the ugly worm to be the beautiful butterfly. But you have to die first. I think the gospel said that. His majesty so joined and united with the essence of the soul that the devil now will not approach, nor will he ever know about this secret. So slowly taking control, God is taking control, but it's still not surrendered totally. We must ask God in prayer to sustain us. Sustain us and sustain us. Let me go faster. Teresa said this: we cannot know whether or not we love God, although there are strong indications for recognizing that we do love Him. But we can know whether we love our neighbor. I cannot doubt this. So, Teresa said, be careful, you die for yourself and you will be born anew. So, how do you understand that? You understand by looking at your relationship with others. Once you enter this very high mansion, whether you love your neighbors more or not. If not, I don't think you have entered this mansion. So what to do? Keep sharpening again humility. Be grateful for God's graces. If you give spiritual consolations and favors, give thanks. Don't compare yourself to others. And love others more than who they are, and proclaiming God's mercy, not our own. Now we entering the betrothal. This mention, I think I will talk very shortly about this mention. Father Lirman Jaya wrote a thesis about this. This mention is very, very noisy with supernatural things. When you read this chapter, it's full. This is the longest chapter and full of supernatural things. I don't think I have time to explain this one. I discussed with Father Jaya about this one and again, and I asked, what are the purpose of these all favors from God? And it's interesting that the purpose is to test us, whether we want to accept only the gifts or we move forward to find the giver. You know, I think it's very awful if somebody give you a gift, you say, oh, okay, thank you. You take the gift, you close the door. It's so awful. Because I think it's better the giver than the giver. So, amidst of these many supernatural things, Jesus wants to know that we really want to suffer with him or not. Teresa said, I doubt very much that those persons who sometimes enjoy so much the things of heaven will live free of earthly trials that come in one way or another. She experienced that. She experienced after so many spiritual gifts, she experienced everything stopped, and then she started with the foundations, and she was rejected by her own disciples. It is very, very painful, but that's part of the game, you know. As I said, mentioned to you, even she died in the place that she didn't like it so much. This severe exterior and interior suffering comes so that they may enter the seventh dwelling place. So you are called to carry the soul. So this is the betrothal happen when the locutions, vision, and ecstasies occur. Whether there are these things in the spiritual life, yes, they are, but they are not that important. So this is the advice from Teresa. And you must know that greater glory is not merited by receiving large number of these favors. You know? Rather, on the contrary, the recipients of these favors are obliged to serve more since they have received more. And this is important, the red one. So there are many holy persons who have never received one of these favors, and others will receive them but are not holy. In the Eastern tradition, we tend to see if people granted with such gifts, you know, we say, oh my God, he is so holy. His father is so holy. Touch this father. No. Be careful. One day, a rich Indonesian came to Rome and said, Father, I will invite the Italian friars who got stigmata. My God, that stigmata is not for showing up. And I said, no. If you ask me, I will say no. Why? People will get mad with this stigmata thing rather than finally come to Jesus. And then finally, I don't know why, they eventually invited this man and came. And I was so scared to see the display of full blood, etc., etc., etc. I don't think that's the purpose. The real holy man, the receiver of stigmata, will suffer if they have to show off like that. Because they know that's not important at all. At all. Teresa said, you need courage here because you're like a poor girl from the village that is proposed by high prince to marry them. You can back off here, but don't back off. Determinación determinada. Move forward. Accept that. So relationship with others, now we become more empathetic to others than any other times. So, and then we the marriage. Teresa said we can call it another paradise. I recommend you to read that, because after the noisy of the sixth mansion with supernatural things, and Teresa gave time how to handle, this room is very quiet. And the only thing that happened in this room is the intellectual vision of the Holy Trinity. Oh, wow. I was just, oh, wow, here. Is this there? And Teresa said, it's there, I can explain it, but it's so beautiful and it's always there. I cannot be separated from him because he got me married. When you got married, you cannot be separated. There is no divorce in the Catholic Church. I think Teresa explains that from her experience being betrothed by God. Yeah, you can read that. What time should I stop? 2:30. Okay. So let me read so that you can understand. Our God, our good God, now desires scales from the soul's eyes and let it see and understand, although in a strange way, something that the favor he grants it. When the soul is brought into that dwelling place, the most blessed Trinity, the three persons, through an intellectual vision, is revealed to it through a certain representation of the truth. Through an admirable knowledge of the soul, understands as a most profound truth that all three persons are one substance and one power and one knowledge and one God alone. For he has desired to be so joined with the creature that just as those who are married cannot be separated, he doesn't want to be separated from the soul anymore. How can I explain it? I don't know. It's too high. Well, if you study the mystery of God and the Holy Trinity, my God, this reading has really humbled me. This reading has humbled me. It's time to explain that, because you have to explain that intellectually, and then you came to this another explanation, but from his or her own experience. Also, when she experienced also the cross of Christ. Okay, let me move to this one. The purpose of the spiritual marriage, and I will stop after this. This is the reason of prayer. This is very important. The purpose of the spiritual marriage. The bird always of good works. This is the true sign of a thing, a favor being from God. I read it. It is necessary that your foundation consists more than prayer and contemplation. If you do not strive the virtues and practice them, you will always be dwarfs. Wow. This is the Teresa of Avila. In the heights of the spiritual marriage, she said, the purpose of this is to love our neighbors better. That's why I said since the beginning, how to test that your prayer life is getting more advanced. by seeing your relationship with others, especially the one who lives with you, because that's the most difficult one. Let us desire be occupied in prayer, not for the sake of our enjoyment, but so as to have the strength to serve. So, contemplation will lead us to spiritual marriage, but simply spiritual marriage leads us to daily lives, to love others in a different manner. As I said in the beginning, I repeat again what Jesus said: you shall love your Lord your God with all your hearts and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the greatest and the first commandment. And the second is like it: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Thank you.
Seems that all of you have been at the center in the seventh mansion, right? So, like the first session, now is your turn to raise your question or some sharing of your experiences and so forth. Still have some time, please. Yeah.
So interior castle is a reflection about our own way to deepen our faith and get closer to God. When you start to talk this morning, you spoke about first conversion and second conversion. Could we put that in parallel with the seven houses?
No, I don't. Well, I don't see it like that. And how I place that in the first and second, it's not clear. So it's a theologian's comments on her experience to get deeper and deeper and deeper. You know, well, if you want to put that, perhaps the first conversion. No. If you want to put the first conversion is about first and third mansion, and after that you're getting more and more deeper, because in the first to the third mansions you're talking about your sins. You know, you are reminded of that, and you have to distinguish between good and bad. But later on, you have to distinguish between good and better. That's more difficult and more subtle. That's why you need the Holy Spirit to lead you to scrutinize the difficult way to understand His will.
I didn't know the book, but when you say there is a passage, the first, how do you say, houses?
Mention.
The first mention are about yourself and your sin, and then there is a passage, and then God is taking the lead.
No, the first to the third.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's about you, and then God come and help you to take the lead. I guess it's for your mission.
For my,
For the mission and for her call. Teresa of Avila was called to found 20 convent and things like that.
from
So this is why the interior life is pulling her deeper in the face to give her strength to be able to go forward.
You can say it like that, because Teresa wrote it not during her lifetime, but wrote it at the end of her time. So reflecting all her life. When from my reading, I understand during the foundations, all these beautiful spiritual delights stopped, and she reflected how beautiful it was in San Jose, how beautiful it was in the beginning. But she never regretted, because she knows that the Holy Trinity is always with her. But the thing is, the difference is, now she is not afraid in facing the great trials. until the end of her life.
Could we say it's because of this supernatural experience?
Yes, yes,
So this is related.
yeah, it's really related. But at the same time, you have to be very careful, because the supernatural experience could be a hindrance to have a marriage with God, because it's not God. Yeah.
So you said that, okay, from your PowerPoint, avoid shopping around for spiritual things, and then your examples are around with, let's say, Buddhist, Baptist, or Protestant church, something. How about today I visit, how do you say, I learned about Carmelite spirituality, tomorrow Dominican, Wednesday. How do you comment on that?
No. Just be careful with just your restlessness. What I said, your restlessness, not to try to find so many retreats, so many talks, and without putting that into practice. Just just to entertain yourself. So just enough, one simple method, and you are very diligent in doing that, following that, and God can lead you to union with Him. Yeah.
Okay, next, please. Any other questions? You sure you have been in seventh dimension or no questions? Yeah, it is interesting, right? That to go to a real practice to love others and to love God in so many ways. Saint Teresa, through the internal casual, finally go to the first and main commandments. Right?
Excuse me, Father, there were a few slides back about good relationship. It was just past. Can you embellish on that?
Oh, which one?
I think it was like 5, 6 before this. Was then on good on relationship.
This one?
No, relationship.
No, perhaps,
Like four more backward, yeah.
The sixth mention.
relationship with others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's your...
Oh, I just want to know, because I wasn't able to read it. So
Okay.
it's empathy, genuine, all the care is important.
So the point here is, what is the purpose of all these spiritual delights? With ecstasies, with visions, locutions. Locutions is hearing something, vision seeing something. Are you holier than the other in doing this? Teresa said, no. Well, let's see. Let us not think that we are doing anything by suffering injuries, but we should be eagerly endure everything. Let us love the one who offends us, since this great God has not ceased to love us, even though we have offended him in very much. By saying that, she said, okay, know yourself, who you are, and how God has granted you these supernatural things that perhaps you're not worthy of accepting that. Now, see your relationship with others. If God never ceased to love you so much so your relationship with others should be at the same level. So this is the secret. This is the secret how we love others as much as God loves us. So the experience of experiencing God's love in our life, real experience, not just knowledge, moves us almost automatically to love others Otherwise, we still attached to somebody else's mistakes. My father slaps my face 27 years ago in this place, and I feel hurt about that. We still do that. But with God, with all experience of God, perhaps you will still remember that unfortunate event, but in a different manner. I understand him as a lonely man, perhaps as I am lonely now, but he loves me. God loves me, so I love him. So it's almost automatically related to each other. You will see in our ratio also that. Yeah.
One last question. Basically, you mentioned that sometimes they can be the enemy or the devil will tempt you with good things, like they can be like the angel of light or something. Like how do you kind of know where something is from God or from enemy that defines it itself as the angel of light?
Yes, I didn't explore about that, but also another tradition, the same Spanish saint, Ignatius of Loyola, will give you a good signs, whether it's from God or from the evil one. The easiest way to distinguish is this: when the evil one comes or influences you, it's always noisy. It's always noisy and didn't give you any inner peace. Give you pleasure? Yes. Oh, pleasure. Yes, of course. But inner peace? No. It's like a drop of water on the metal. Bam, 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 bam. Always noisy of self-boasting, always noisy of showing off yourself, always noisy of being pride, etc., etc. But if the Holy Spirit comes in you and influence you, it's like the drop of water upon the sponge. It just working inside you without any noise, and you feel inner peace. When that happens, it's a guarantee that you are working with the Holy Spirit, and you will see the result of loving your neighbors more greatly without boasting ourselves. So that's the subtle difference, Sometimes the devil using the angel of light, that's very difficult because, for example, in the charismatic movement, if somebody is given the charism of healing, are there charism of healing? Yes, there are, of course. But who heals? God heals, not you. People just pointing not to God, but to Him. They don't understand the logic of the grace. The charismatic gifts is in Latin, in theology, called gratia gratis data. The grace given freely, for free, not because you are worth it or not. Just be given to you for the ministry. And God hopes that you're getting better with that. But the receiver is always misunderstands about this. Oh, I am holy. God gives this one. That's why I can heal people. Aha! That's the way in of the evil spirit to enter and to lighten your pride. No, yes, you are. Of course, you are holy, but actually, you are not. The Teresa said, no. Who you are, self-knowledge. Humility, and that's the only one that guarantee you to have a spiritual marriage with God.
One more question. It's more from the earlier part of the journey where you go outside from basically forward sin and then coming to the first love, right? It's the part where you have to be diligent as a human. But then, for my own experience, sometimes you're too cocky per se, in the sense that you try to rely too much on yourself? Do you have any input on how to correctly approach it while still being diligent but also involving God in the process of like relinquishing away from sin? It's something that I think more approachable to me, but like I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's why I said what is from God's part. God initiates and open the way you to enter, and then you have to know that He's opening your way and just follow, and be diligent. I once one day I visited a man who had been like 27 years not going to the church. A man, and he said, "Father, I'm living in my sin. Let me stay in my sin." And he said that as if he's very brave. "Let me stay in my sin." And I said, "You are arrogant. You think that you can save yourself," blah, 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 just to wake him up, you know. And I said to him finally, "I will wait for you in the church next week." And I was so afraid. If he didn't come, then I committed sins. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. Finally, the last Mass, he was sitting on the corner. And I was, oh my God, thank God. So God initiates, perhaps using my mouth, my sharp mouth, to say that. I think the Holy Spirit enlightened me at that time. To say something harsh, to wake him up. Not just, you know, just stay in the mud, but just wake up and start walk again. Yeah, thank you.
Next, please. One last question or sharing. Yeah, please.
As you said, humility, like people who have
I think if you read the book of her life, you will see a lot of sharing from her part, how she struggled to follow Jesus. When she entered the monastery, how she struggled to put her thoughts in one place, in a good prayer, in the concentration, and how she struggled to understand her vocation. So what can we learn from Teresa of Avila is from her struggle, from her humility, from her struggle in understanding, in put God's will into her life. It is not easy at all. As I said to you, she is the maestra, the teacher, the doctor of the church on prayer. But how long she had to start to realize the prayerful life? 20 years after entering Carmel. That's long time after solemn profession. You know, we enter the novitiate 1 or 2 years, and then 5 years of profession, and then we cut solemn profession. So say 7 years, more than that. You see, she has to learn the way of up and down, etc. But not stopping in that time. After she experienced the things, she still had to endure suffering, but with different manner, because she knows she's not alone. She knows that God is with her always. Not from the knowledge, but from the experience. That's why she said, just access that experience. Whatever God will give you, don't mention about that. Don't worry about that, because that's not your business to control God. But you know you can access that. You know you can access the grace of God. You are, as I said in the church today, the good news of the gospel today is that, well, we are not just required to be perfect morally as followers of Christ, but we are given the tools and given the weapons to be perfect, the abundance of God's grace. That's the thing that we can learn from her life, from her restless and outspoken person to be the daughter of the church. But be prepared if God has to teach you until your last breath, as he did to Teresa of Avila. So,
Okay. Let's give applause again.
thank you.
Of course, it is not necessary to mention that this retreat on this topic is very beautiful, very touching, and very inspiring, right? Reminding us of actually our call to love others and to love God, right? But because of time constraint, we have to stop our retreat now. And again, I would like to remind you that for the Benny Pang, we'll give another retreat on the same topic, on the same, continuing this talk from Monday to Wednesday next week in Shekpo Retreat Center. If you are interested in joining this retreat, you still can register. Okay. So again, for the Benny Pang, we are very grateful for your talk, for your retreat, for your inspirations, and for your sharing. Of course, this is a very rare opportunity for us to have this kind of a rich spiritual nourishment, right? And we hope that one day Father Benny Pang will come again to share more deeper about Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint Teresa, Santa Teresa de Jesus, about the way of perfection or her life and so forth, because there's still a lot of spiritual richness there. So I would like to return this forum to our Master of Ceremony, Brother Kevin. Give applause to Brother Kevin.